Ever had a moment when your whole understanding of life just collapses? It's like you're stuck on a wobbly floor, seeing everything you believed in break apart. Picture this. I'm in the hallway with a glass of water, clutching it so tight I'm scared it might shatter. I wasn't supposed to hear anything. I was just walking past our bedroom on the way to the kitchen when my wife's voice stopped me in my tracks. She was talking softly, intimately, but not to me. "I don't even want to hug him anymore," she admitted, followed by a laugh that wasn't filled with joy. It was distant, like she'd already settled on someone else. I just froze. She was on the phone, lying on our bed, her legs crossed at the ankles and swinging as if she didn't have a worry in the world. I stood there, unable to move, my heart pounding. Her voice was low, but every word cut through me. I know, it's just, I don't feel anything when he touches me anymore. It's like I tolerate it, you know? It's not exciting." Then there was silence, and a soft, knowing laugh again. "Of course I want to. I just have to be careful. He's not stupid." I let out a slow breath, trying to control the anger rising inside me. It wasn't just the words she said, it was how easily she said them, like she was not only brushing me aside, but already past our life together. I gripped the glass tighter, tempted to rush in and demand to know what was going on. Who was she chatting with? What did she mean by, "be careful"? But then, a cold realization hit me. Confronting her wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't erase what I just heard. So she didn't want to hug me anymore? Fine, she wouldn't need to. She didn't feel anything from my touch? Perfect. She would never feel it again. She thought she knew how I'd react, with anger or desperate pleas. Well, she was in for a surprise. I turned away instead, walked back down the hallway, and set the glass on the counter, letting her words seep into me like a slow-acting poison. From that moment, I began to see my wife as non-existent. She wanted space? Oh, she'd truly understand what distance was. One day she'd regret thinking I'd always be there. But she didn't know that yet. Silence has power, sharper than any argument. I didn't yell or cry or argue. I just stopped. Stopped asking how her day was, stopped holding her hand, stopped putting in the effort. I turned into a ghost in my own house, and at first she didn't even notice. For a few days she seemed absorbed in her own world, smiling at her phone, humming while getting ready for work. Probably thought I was just tired or distracted, or going through one of those phases where guys pull back for no real reason. Perfect. She didn't have a clue. During dinner I sat in silence. No small talk, while she barely glanced up from her plate. At night when she used to snuggle in, I turned away, leaving a chilly gap between us. She didn't mention it, yet. It took about a week before she caught on. "Hey," she said one morning as I rinsed my coffee cup in the sink. "Are you okay?" I turned slightly, looked her in the eye, and smiled. "Yeah, why wouldn't I be?" It was a real smile, but it didn't have any warmth. She blinked, puzzled. "I don't know, you've been quiet." I gave a shrug. "Just been thinking about things." That was it. No further details. She waited, expecting more, but I offered nothing. I walked past her, snatched up my keys, and headed off to work. Let her wonder. Let her feel the uncertainty I'd felt when I heard her talk about not wanting to touch me anymore. The small stuff started bothering her first. She loved our movie nights when we'd huddle under the same blanket, watching whatever she picked. So Friday night came, and she found me already halfway through a movie by myself. She seemed taken aback. "You started without me?" With a slight nod, I answered as if I thought she wouldn't mind. I didn't pause the movie or make room for her. She stood there awkwardly for a minute before settling at the far end of the couch, with a weird tension between us. It felt different. The day after, I got home later than normal. She was waiting, leaning on the kitchen counter with her arms crossed. "Where were you?" she asked. I just shrugged, setting my keys down. "Who were you with?" she persisted. As I locked eyes with her, I kept my expression neutral. "Just some folks," I said. She furrowed her brow, a little puzzled. "Folks?" she repeated. I simply nodded and walked on by, leaving her to sort through her own confusion. It had been ages since I'd seen anything like that in her eyes, maybe just a flicker of concern or uncertainty. She wasn't used to being ignored. She was used to having me chase after her, showing care and vying for her attention. But I had stepped back from being that person. If she wanted to treat me like background noise, she could deal with the solitude. 2 weeks slid by, and it wasn't just silence by then. It was my absence. Sure, my body was there, but my heart and mind were elsewhere. I floated around her like she was part of the furniture, only speaking when absolutely necessary and with the politest of words. Initiating conversation? That was off the table, and she slowly started to feel the impact. How about dinner out tonight? She tossed out one evening, attempting nonchalance. I'm good, thanks, I responded. We could try that new spot you mentioned a while back, she suggested after a moment. She was testing the waters, seeing if I still cared, if I'd eagerly jump back into her favor. But that wasn't happening. Not really in the mood, I said, diving back into my book. The next morning, while I was getting dressed, she lightly touched my arm. I pulled away, not dramatically, but enough for her to notice the shift, the rebuff that had settled in our home. She withdrew as if having touched something scorching. The first discernible crack. Her outer shell started to crumble under the weight of my absence, as desperation crept in. A few nights later, I heard her scrubbing the kitchen counters with unusual fervor, a telltale sign of her nerves. In a bid to mend things, she brought a bottle of wine and 2 glasses into the living room, placing them in front of me. I glanced up from my phone. What's all this? I asked. She forced a smile. Thought we could have a drink together. It's been a minute. An attempt at repairing what she'd unknowingly broken. I looked at the bottle, then back at her, deciding to head to bed instead. I'm turning in, I announced, stretching, noticing her face drop, not massively, but enough to see the letdown. She was disappointed, a flicker of panic she tried to tuck away. I left her sitting there, 2 untouched wine glasses, with no choice but to confront her own loneliness. That moment highlighted the truth for both of us. She began to grasp it, the void, the solitude. She was slowly realizing her diminished role in my life, losing its luster. Little by little, it gnawed at her. That night, sleep came easily to me as I heard her shut the cabinet doors with gentle resignation. She was starting to understand. Everything unraveled more swiftly than I had thought. Her desperation bubbled up through small cracks in her indifferent exterior. She lingered awkwardly over mundane phrases, rerun questions she hadn't noticed the first time, trapped in her regrets. This chilly silence was new to her, yet she still had no clue that I had pieced everything together. But then came a change, 3 weeks later. I overheard her confessing to someone that she no longer wanted to hug me. That's when the puzzle completed itself. She was having an affair. The truth washed over me quietly. Her deceit had been carefully masked with deleted messages, late nights, and minor inconsistencies that might have slipped past unnoticed. But she messed up, just once. I was in bed scrolling through my phone when a message flashed on hers while she was showering. It said, "Tonight was amazing. I can't get you out of my mind." The sender was marked only by an initial, M. I stared at it, but my pulse didn't quicken anymore. I already knew. This was just the proof. She came out of the bathroom, towel drying her hair, none the wiser. She didn't even catch the phone's glow. I kept quiet, but something clicked inside. Until then, I had been playing it slow, backing away emotionally. But I was ready. Now I had the advantage. It was my turn to shake things up. The following day, I feigned sickness and stayed home from work while she left, offering me an absent-minded kiss that carried no weight. Once her car vanished from earshot, I gave myself a 20-minute head start before cracking open my laptop. First on my agenda, find out more about M. Didn't take a genius to figure things out after that phone bill showed me the way. A particular number popping up repeatedly during late nights. Paired that with her social media activity, and bam, the pieces connected. People often think they're sneaky, but they're not. And that's how I discovered Michael, some smooth-talking middle manager from her job, all charm and shine like he's putting on a show. Guy probably believed he was untouchable. I couldn't help but chuckle as I scrolled through his online bragging rights. Exotic trips, tailored suits, and the smug grin of someone convinced he's on top of the world. Little did he know, the game's rules were shifting right under him. Spent the next few days flying under the radar while keeping my eyes wide open, dug through their messages, and even tailed her to a fancy hotel one night, maintaining my distance. Slipped a tiny GPS tracker under her car. Nothing shady, just enough tech to keep tabs on her whereabouts. To wrap things up, I pulled in a private investigator. I wasn't just about catching them red-handed. I wanted the whole package, leaving no detail overlooked. Within a week, the PI delivered the goods, photos, texts, and even video of their sneaky hotel meets. I had all the evidence I needed, ready to deliver a knockout anytime I wanted, watching her squirm. But rushing it didn't feel right. She tore apart our marriage slowly, so I'd savor this slow unraveling too. Right before launching my plan, she did something unexpected. She cozied up next to me on the couch, trying to bridge the gulf she'd created. "Hey," she said, voice timid and a bit shaky. I kept my face unreadable, replying, "Yeah?" After what felt like an age, she bit her lip and said, "Things have felt off between us." Her saying that took some nerve. I just shrugged back. "I guess so." She kept going on about not wanting us to drift apart, but we weren't just distant. We were in different worlds, though she hadn't realized yet. Almost cruelly, I offered a nostalgic smile and said, "Neither do I," giving her the fake comfort she was after. With her getting ready for bed, I decided to drop the bomb. As she brushed her teeth, I left an envelope on her pillow, filled with texts, photos, and every shred of betrayal. She returned, humming a tune, only to stop cold at the envelope, her eyes darting from it to me. "What's this?" she asked, voice tight. I stayed silent, just watched as she opened it. Her hands trembled while flipping through the undeniable proof of her deceit. Her breath hitched, words failed her, and when she looked at me, her face was deathly pale. "How did you—" she began, but didn't finish. Didn't matter. It was over, and she was caught in her own trap. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, letting the silence stretch. Then I grinned, not warmly, more like someone who knows the outcome. "No need to keep pretending," I said calmly. "You're free now." She might have been gearing up to deny or plead, who knows, but I lifted a hand to stop her. "No arguments, no shouting, no asking why," I added. The lack of emotion in my words hit her like a ton of bricks. She inhaled deeply, eyes glistening, holding that envelope like it might protect her from the mess she made. She'd braced for anger, for a fight, maybe even for desperate bargaining, but instead she found my cold indifference. And that's what truly crushed her, because in that moment, she knew she had really lost. Regret's like a slow poison. It doesn't hit you all at once. It lingers, festers, and gradually takes over everything. I felt it kick in the second my wife saw the evidence. Her breath caught, her hands shook, and her face lost its color. That's when it all started falling apart. The guilt, the slow, inevitable crumbling of the life she thought she had. And I was going to watch every part of it unfold. At first, she tried to act like nothing had happened, playing it cool. I could practically see her mind racing, scrambling to come up with a story, a way to cover her tracks. "Hold on," she stammered, clutching the envelope as if she could make its contents disappear. "This isn't what it seems." That made me laugh, a genuine laugh, and she winced at the sound of it. "Not what it seems?" I asked, shaking my head. "Come on now, don't insult us both." She opened her mouth, then closed it again, realizing there was no easy escape. So she shifted her tactics. Her eyes softened, her voice trembling like she was some sort of victim. "It was a mistake," she murmured. "I didn't think. I never meant to hurt you, I swear." Pretending to care, I tilted my head slightly. "How many times?" She went rigid, and I let the silence linger, making her stew in it. She must have realized that if I knew this much, I probably knew everything. Her lip trembled. "For months," she admitted, her voice barely audible. "For months." It hit home even though I already knew. It was different hearing it from her mouth, seeing the guilt twist her expression. I nodded slowly. "Months of mistakes, that's quite the run." Her eyes were shiny with unshed tears. "It wasn't like that," she insisted again, inching closer, reaching for my hand. I stepped back, just a little step, but enough to make my point. Her whole body stiffened, and that's when it hit her. I was done caring. I wasn't shouting, or pleading, or clinging to anything. and that scared her more than any anger she might have expected. My cold indifference crushed her. Over the next few days, I perfected the art of being aloof. I didn't leave, didn't fight. I was just there, sharing the space with her, cold, detached, unreachable, and she couldn't stand it. She kept trying to justify everything, kept coming up with reasons to be near me, as if we could somehow rebuild what she'd destroyed. She'd make me coffee in the mornings. I poured it down the drain. She'd offer to make dinner, and I'd order takeout for one. She'd sit next to me on the couch, trying to pretend nothing had changed, and I'd just get up and leave. Each small rejection cut her deeper. She anticipated rage, yelling, accusations. But I didn't give her that satisfaction. She simply wasn't worth my energy, and I made sure she felt it. The moment she truly crumbled came about a week after everything came to light. I heard her crying in the kitchen, not the quiet, fake sobs meant to earn sympathy. This was genuine. I stayed planted in the living room, eyes on my phone, acting oblivious. She was unraveling just a few feet away, and I ignored it. Eventually, she snapped. She stormed into the living room, hair a mess, eyes red, voice quaking with fury. "Are you seriously planning to ignore me forever?" she shouted, fists clenched. I looked up to meet her gaze and smirked. "Yes." That one word was enough. Her whole body went taut like I'd hit her. "Why won't you just yell at me?" she cried out. "Why won't you get mad, argue, do something?" I set down my phone and leaned forward. "You don't deserve my anger," I told her, calm and steady. "You don't deserve my time. You mean nothing to me." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I was stupid," she murmured. You thought I'd never leave," I cut her off. "You thought I'd stick around, regardless of all the lies, regardless of how many nights you spent with him, that I'd still be waiting here, like an idiot." She swallowed hard, struggling to breathe. "I was wrong." I exhaled quietly, shaking my head. "Yes, you were." That was the moment she realized she had lost. Not just our marriage, not just me, but everything she knew about herself. Watching her world collapse, I gave her a little more time, a couple more weeks of silence, 2 weeks of her trying to win me back, 2 weeks of her living in the mess she had created. Then I made my move. I packed my things. Not all of them, just the necessities. Just enough to make it clear I was gone for good. She showed up. When I made it home that evening, she froze at the doorway, watching me zip up the last of my bags. Her eyes were full of disbelief. "Hang on, where are you off to?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. I didn't say a word. She edged closer, her hands visibly shaking, and begged, "Can we talk?" I slung the bag over my shoulder and finally looked her in the eye. I gave her the same cool smile I had when I handed her that envelope before. "We already did," I said, and walked right past her. She didn't try to stop me because she knew there was nothing left to be discussed. As I stepped out, ready for a future without her, the only feeling I had was satisfaction. She wanted space, thrills, a life detached from me, and now she got exactly what she wished for. Funny thing was, it was the toughest repercussion I could have dealt. Regret sticks around like a shadow you just can't shake. It haunts the quiet and fills the gaps where love used to flourish. It hangs in the air, making every breath heavier than the one before. My wife, well, my ex-wife, drowned in it, and I made sure of that. Leaving wasn't just about walking away. It was about erasing myself from her world entirely. I blocked her number, ignored her emails, and didn't pay any mind to mutual friends trying to mend things. I turned into a ghost, just a memory of the man she knew and lost. For good. She made her choice, and I left her to deal with it on her own. The aftermath hit hard and fast. Word of her affair didn't stay between us. It spread everywhere. I ensured her circle, family, friends, co-workers, all found out. Michael's wife, the guy she cheated with, got the proof and tore his life apart with urgency. She quickly filed for divorce and took everything she could. My ex soon realized that this supposed lover had no plans to build a future with someone who'd lost it all. Their fling fizzled out within 2 weeks of my departure, leaving her completely alone. Time healed, and I moved forward with my life. I found a new place, embraced a fresh start with new habits, and found peace in having a life of my own. One night my phone buzzed with a message from her. Somehow she'd managed to contact me. Her words were simple yet desperate. "Can we talk, please? I just need to see you." I almost laughed at how expected this was. She made her choice and lost, traded a good man for a brief thrill, and now wanted to undo it all, to reclaim what was gone. But once a bridge burns, it's rarely rebuilt. I didn't bother replying. I just blocked her number again, leaving her with her regret to face the fallout of her choices. I had won, and she'd have to live with that forever. They say revenge is best when it's cold, but this was beyond revenge. This was justice. She gambled everything and lost. The toughest part was she couldn't blame anyone but herself. As for me, I walked away untouched, unaffected by it all. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.